if I'm too loud, you let me know, okay? All right. Well, we have a few more slaggers coming in. Welcome, everyone. Good morning. Come on in, we're getting started quickly. Good morning, good morning. You're going to miss a great session if you walk away. Okay, good morning, everyone. I hope that you all have something to write on and write with, because I am pretty certain you're going to want to take notes. Today, we're going to talk about speed equals survival. And how many of you, I heard that this was like day 8 in this whole symposium. How many of you have been here the entire 8 days by a show of hands? Okay, wow, okay. 6, congratulations, that's huge, that's a lot. And kudos to what the eBridge Center for Business and Commercialization is putting on. I am very impressed. I do a lot of speaking engagements, and the marketing and the outlines and the speakers that they invite is just absolutely incredible. So take your right hand, everyone take your right hand, and tap yourself on your left shoulder and say, I'm here. Good job. Because look around. All of those chairs could be filled. My name is Brigitta Hoeferle. Some of you already said it, the ones that came in new. Where do I originate from? Which country? What do you think, the new ones? Germany. Germany, yes. I am German by birth, and I am also a U.S. citizen by my father. My father's a naturalized American who passed away 13 years ago. But I do what I do right here, and I love doing it. I speak to entrepreneurs, I speak to large crowds, I do communications trainings, and I pass on my knowledge from building many businesses, selling many businesses, so you don't have to make some of the mistakes that I made. Is that good? Because that's why I want you to take some notes, because I might drop some nuggets here or there. There's no guarantee there, though. So by the end of today, you are going to, some of the key takeaways is why AQ does not replace IQ or EQ. What's IQ? Intellectual quotient. What's EQ? Emotional quotient. So AQ, adaptability quotient, does not replace IQ or EQ. But in today's environment, in today's business environment, in today's overall environment, it's critical. It's the most critical intelligence of our time. And there are 3, how many? 3, by the way, I'm showing 3, by the way, gives away where I come from. Americans show 3 like that or like that. Germans show it like this. The 3 AQ composites and how they show up in your leadership daily. The hidden behaviors that might block adaptability and how adaptability impacts culture, decision-making, team trust, retention, performance, and burnout. So before we go any further, right now, I already asked some of you have something to write with and write on. However you do that, that's really up to you. Everyone takes notes differently. Some of you take them mentally. Phones off right now. You do not need them. Trust me, you can check your emails, your text messages, whatever's important to you after this, because this is way more important what we're talking about right now. Participate. I'm not going to be the talking head here the entire time. You might have already noticed that, okay? This is about you. And some of the stories, some of the rich stories are going to come from you. Some of the rich insights are going to come from you. Also, when someone says something, and that's why I want to have this agreement with you, there are no wrong questions. There are no wrong answers. There is no silly anything. This is a safe space and judgment-free zone. Do we have an agreement? Okay, anyone not? I'm watching you guys. Okay, So respecting others is a big, big part of what I do and what we do in a, what I would say, very diverse group we have here. So markets shift. They shift faster than plans. Teams change. How many of you have teams? How many of you work with teams? With a team in your business? Okay, several of you. And then pressure compounds. And your decisions rely on habits that worked out over time. But at some point, they don't work out anymore. And that's where you need to know how to adapt. Someone that I talked to earlier today said, oh, I love the word pivot. How many of you are done with the word pivot by a show of hands? It has been overused through what? When did we learn pivot? When was that word kind of introduced? The pandemic, yeah, 2020. Everyone had to pivot. I'm sick and tired of that word. Okay, I call it the P word. But pivoting just means I'm going from here to here. But that doesn't allow us to strategically look at what goes into pivoting. So in the AQ methodology that I'm sharing with you today, you're going to get a lot more depth to just, well, you just need to pivot, okay? Because not knowing how to adapt is not just bad for your health as a business owner, as a founder, but it's really bad for your business, for the health of your business, and for the health of your team. Because if you're not healthy, and you're constantly pivoting because you're constantly doing this and this and this, and you're a rabbit, and you're doing like these funny little side jumps, your team's going to go, where are we off to now? And when that happens, what is that causing your team? Chaos, confusion, what else? Insecurity. They leave. They're not productive, because when they're uncertain, nothing happens. They're like freeze. Oh, here goes the boss again, trying to do something else. So in leadership, write this down, what cannot be measured cannot be improved. So that's why experienced leaders are no longer just looking at IQ or EQ alone. That's why we are looking at AQ today. The person with the most adaptability controls the environment. The person with the most adaptability controls the environment. This is taken from a law of physics called the law of requisite variety. You don't need to write this down because as a German, it's already really hard for me to say, the law of requisite variety. But the sentiment of it, the person with the most adaptability controls the environment, not the most flexibility. So adaptability, what does it mean to you? What do you make it mean? Hold on, got it.
Adapt in general. Just adapt in general as far as the work, the area, the individuals that you're working with, so it all depends.
Yeah.
But it is adaptability.
Could you define the word adaptability with another word than adaptability?
Oh gosh. Oh.
Adjust, okay.
To get used to?
To get used to.
Flexibility.
Flexibility. It goes deeper than flexibility. Do we have something here? No?
Continue to work despite of the changes.
Continue to work as part of the changes. Did you have something to offer?
It really was going to be flexibility, so I was going to go.
Flexibility. Did you have something to offer? Nope.
Yes,
Anyone else? Did you have something to offer?
Adjust or improve.
Adjust, improve. Yeah.
Change, willingness based on the environment.
Oh, willingness to change. Adaptability is a huge base component, key component of change management. How many of you are familiar with the term change management? Okay, some of you. So change management is looking at what works, and I'm oversimplifying, looking at what works and looking at what no longer works. I'm going to give you guys later some examples, and we're going to workshop some examples later. So you came with some expectations in here, and I want to write them down on the board because I want to make sure that I am not just the talking head up here, but that I can deliver what you came for. Because you came in here, you signed up to be in this room specifically, maybe for, adaptability, speed equals success. That sounds interesting. Why? What do you want to walk away with today? I'm going to write it here on the board, and I'm going to erase the welcome, because we might need the space. This is where you participate, remember? I'm sorry, say that again. A way to adapt in the environment, okay? Adapt in the environment, okay? What you expect, what do you want to walk away with? What do you want to put in your head? What do you want to put in your notebook? Like, what did you come here to take away with? Specifically in this session. Yes? Learning to what?
Learning is power and I want power.
Learning is power. I love that. You know what? Leaders, I'm going to write this down. Leaders equals learners. Thank you for that. What is your name? Aide. Aide? Leaders are learners, and that gives you power. Absolutely. Knowledge is power. A leader that says, oh, I already know that. Run. And if that is your mindset, we need to talk. Long. What else do you want to walk away with? What? Three decisions? Three? Three what?
The first one is take the knowledge. The second is listen and offer to new.
Okay, take knowledge. And then listen. Yeah. Action. But you know what? A lot of founders, a lot of business owners are very type A. Do we have any type A's in the room? That was good. Come on. I see some type A's when I see them. I know some type A's when I see them. I'm a type A. And for a long time, that's where I would go into. But I did not really listen to my team. That cost me. Yes? A type A is someone, a ready, fire, aim. Did you just hear what I said? Ready, fire, aim. They're not aiming first, they're firing first. They're not thinking, they're just doing. Which sometimes, when you first start a business, it's not bad. That's how I got a lot of my businesses off the ground. But it's not sustainable. So it's great to be a type A visionary person as a business owner. A lot of people that start their businesses have a huge vision, but you need someone in your team that keeps you on your tracks. And when you are on your tracks, then you can also define when do we need to switch to, when do we need to introduce, what is that called when the track's on a train where you move to a different track? What is that called? You guys know what I mean? When what was that? Shifting there's a special term. Yeah, exactly. So, thank you. See, sometimes I've lived in the United States for 25 years and I still have sometimes word finding problems. So it's not one of these, it's all of them in that order. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else want to put something here on the board for expectations? Yes? Implementable. Love it. Thank you. Tools to implement. Forgive me, my handwriting, I'm a teacher also, is not the best, but you kind of get the picture. Anything else that needs to go on this board on expectations? To be more efficient, how so?
I suppose instead of just action, put direction prior.
I hope I wrote that right. Efficiency to action. So there's an intentional action, right? Yes. Intentional. Good. Anything else that needs to go on here? Like a culture, like a team culture, or getting everyone in the same direction with the same passion. So that is kind of a team culture, huh? Yeah, so that's really important. And that goes back to environment. I'm actually going to put this all the way up here. Team culture. Okay. Anything else that needs to go in here?
Tools or how, or what would be an efficient way to implement a shift in culture to your team?
Yes. Okay, perfect. So tools for this. Perfect. Thank you for clarifying. Love it. And I will give that. I have that. I'm excited. Okay, anything else that needs to go in here? I want to make sure that everyone is being heard. All right. Fantastic. How many of you are really excited to be in this room right now? Yeah, same. I'm excited to be here, and I already know what's coming. Okay, we're going to do an exercise. So we got 4, we got 3, 6, 8. So that's 12. We are going to do an exercise. So I would like for the 2 of you, please, to come over. Actually, are you father and son? The 2 of you? Okay, I'm going to split you guys up. And I'm actually going to split you up, too. So I'm going to ask you, please, to come over on this side, and you to come over on this side. Are you mom and son? Oh, yeah, you're not. Okay. You go on this side, please. And you can come back. You can come back later. Yeah, just go over on this side right now. Hello, welcome. Before you sit down, would you please have a seat right over here, 2, 4, 5? Yes, because we're about to go into an exercise. So we have one group with 6 and one group with 7. Is that right? Because you know what happens when you stand up here? You A, forget grammar and spelling, and B, you forget how to count. Yeah, it just kind of all goes out the window, okay? I have 2 degrees and all of that goes out the window, but that's okay. Just makes me human. Okay, so we have group A. Which group are you guys? A. And you guys are group? B. Z, no, B, of course. Okay, great. So we have group A and group B. We're going to do an experiment, and it'll be a fun experiment. So I'm going to ask group A to leave the room real quick. Don't go anywhere, but you're going to have to come in this area. So someone needs to see me when I wave you to come back in, but you cannot hang out here, please. Don't go anywhere. Promise? Okay. All right, guys. So your group B. Okay, group B. You are going to listen, engage, and adapt. You're going to be interested in what we're going to do, like a little networking thing, okay? It's going to be a little lab experiment. So you might introduce new ideas, you might be really interested, you ask questions, you might even provide information from your own experiences. If you don't have any information, you might do a lateral shift, like a subtle shift into an area or a topic that you know more in, okay? You want to have an open body language, okay? You want to be really close to them, to the person that you're speaking to. You want to have open gestures, not stand like this. You want to have like an inviting personality, which I think you all have. You want to model curiosity and also empathy, and be flexible in the way that you respond. Okay? Stay in character. Okay? Can you do that? It's a lab experience. It'll be fun. Are you ready for this? Okay, fantastic. Now, off you go and bring the other group in. And don't share anything with them, okay? Not right now. And when you are in the experience, you're also not sharing your character. You're just being your character, okay? All right. Off you pop. Okay, come on in. Group A. You guys either. Yeah, they told you everything. They told you everything. So this is going to be a lab experience, okay? You're going to be in character. This is your character. We're going to do like a little networking scenario. You're going to speak about your business. You can use your elevator pitch if you have one, or just talk about you. Talk about your business. You're not showing any interest to the other person. All you're here to do is talk about yourself and your business. Can you do that? Of course you can. You're going to use rigid responses. You're not going to be open. You're going to be very closed off. There's no deviation allowed. You're going to stick to what your business is and who you are. You're not going to engage in small talk. Hey, how's the weather? Oh, look, it's bad weather. Oh, actually, no, it's tinted windows. No, we're sticking to the script of your business. Ignore any information that might be coming from the other person. Do not engage in their information. Do not engage in any other cues from them. You stick to your rigidness. Avoid asking questions or even asking feedback from them. Okay? You're only there to speak, not to engage. Maintain distance. You're not going to be open. You're going to be very closed off. So maintain your distance. Avoid any other body language signals like eye contact or warmth or openness. Be mellow, be even keel in your tone. Do not be inviting in any way. Can you do that? Are we clear on what we're doing? Okay. Yeah. No, you're going to be more monotone rigidness. Maybe indifferent, yes, more indifferent than boring, but more rigidness. I am talking about my business, and that is the only thing that interests me. Does that make sense? Are we clear on what we're doing? Stay in character. Okay? You're not sharing with them what you're doing. You're just staying in character. All right? Let's bring them in. So everyone stand up, please. Okay, come on in, you guys. We are going to network. Find someone that you do not know yet. Talk to someone you're mingling. This is a networking opportunity. Find someone that you do not know yet and have a conversation with them. Find someone from the other group. I'm going to tell you when the experience is over. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can also find someone else to talk to. You don't have to stick with the same person. All right. Thank your partner that you spoke to. The experiment is over. Give them a high five. Say you're awesome. Thank you, thank you. Hysterical laughter. and you can, and you can also go back to your original seat if you want to. Yeah, you can go back to your original seat. Okay. Everyone go back to your original seat. I felt some relief when I said thank your partner. And you can relax. Okay, what did you notice? You hold on.
I felt bad because, first of all, it's not the way I am. I, I, I tend to be more open. I tend to try to build rapport. I try to build rapport, to connect, and the financials and economics will come later on, right? First, I try always to get to know the person, and trying to play the role of a different person. I mean, I was looking at her expressions, and I started feeling bad for her. Right? That's why at the end, yeah, Carlos. Yeah.
Let's ask, what is your name? Diana. Diana, how was it with Carlos?
Well, I was trying to follow the instructions, so I just let everything slide and kept going and hoping for the time to come to an end.
We're hoping that it comes to an end.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, yes, wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. I just want to say that I felt totally ignored. Seriously. Yes. To him. I just started laughing because I knew where he was coming from. He was just ignoring me, so I just couldn't continue. So yeah, and he kind of he wanted to laugh too. So yeah, he kept going like this, but I kind of kept going, a little bit, and to tell him I played along, I kind of knew, but I just couldn't resist. When they start ignoring me, I just kind of start laughing, and I'm like, oh, okay, I know what you're doing.
Okay,
So
okay.
ignored, really.
Great. Okay, fantastic. We got some good ahas. Fantastic.
Okay, I don't know what to say. What I just can say was so fun and easy. The fact that I had no clue what she was talking about, and she was trying to make something up, and it was just not. I mean, I feel really nice because I try to help her, like. Yes, yes. It's like okay, and then I understood something that she was saying. The first take that I got was that she was saying that they were building a facility or something, but then afterward it was different. But when I understood that they were building a facility and she stopped, kind of keep going, I was like, okay, so are you all gonna build a hotel next to it? That way, the conference when people can stay there, and the yeah. So I was like, okay, so I mean, that would be nice because that way people don't stay in different hotels in different areas, and that way everybody stays in the same place. They can just stay in the hotel and they can come to the conference. And then she goes, "No, it was something." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Well, let's look at the different definitions. Group A was stick to the outline, stick to the elevator pitch, be rigid, do not engage, be even keel, don't take any cues or clues from group B, maintain your distance, do not engage. Okay? Does that make sense now for you guys? Does that make sense? Group B. Group B. They were like trying to lean in and get more information and provide other ideas, right? That's what you did. Well, that's why it was so foreign to you, Carlos, right? So give yourselves a round of applause for doing this lab experiment. How?
Can you ask him?
About what? About what specifically?
He never was walking here. He answered me everything that I said.
Well, we're not here to cast blame, okay? In a monotone voice.
We've seen each other, we've talked before, and how can not me?
So to some of you, it was uncomfortable, but you stayed in the role. To some of you, it was so foreign that you simply cannot. And that's a big piece in adaptability too. Sometimes, and we're going to go through the 15 components of AQ, sometimes we have to be aware of what we need to unlearn in order to adapt. Because sometimes we have a behavior that is so ingrained in us that it is a program that is driving us. It's driving me, not you're driving the program. It is so ingrained in you from maybe some past failures, from maybe a failure that if your parents were business owners, you've seen, or if a friend has a business and you've seen them do it, that has made such an impact on you that you first need to become aware of, that's what's driving my behavior. This is not supporting me. I need to unlearn that in order to adapt a new, better behavior. If that is the only thing that you walk away with from today, that is a really, really important thing as a founder and business owner. But there were other key takeaways. So, adapting behaviorally is really, really important. Even you might be in front of someone that is totally closed off and totally even keel and really not interested in what you're talking about at all, because they're all about it. They're all about themselves. They know that they have the best things in sliced bread, and they don't really give a what if you like it or not. They'll just keep talking and 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 talking. You've met these people. Some of you, you might know them really, really well, and they look back in the mirror at you. So becoming aware of what behaviors not are you driving, but is driving you. Because those are the most critical ones that you need to become aware of. Who's stuck in their old ways? Some might call it consistency, and consistency is good if it is not being stuck. How does the interaction, I saw Carlos and Diane? There was the table between you. So how does the environment allow connection or block connection? And what do you think, just this exercise, which was, again, a lab experience, it was fun, it got you all to laugh. What is one thing that would adapt to your business today that you take away from? What's a takeaway from this? Hold on.
Listen to the other individual. Don't force yourself onto that particular person. Open your environment so that you can go ahead and learn before you go ahead and speak and offer your services or what have you.
As the last step, yeah, absolutely. Anyone else? Okay, yes.
So definitely I kind of want to piggyback on offering the services as a last step. I automatically, think big, dream big, and let's do it right away. You have something, it's not there, I can help you with that. But also if the person doesn't want that help, we can't force it on them, right? We want to take a step back and just be an open ear when they want that.
Yeah, rapport is a big, big piece of that. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, appreciate it. Yes, Carlos.
How to balance the idea, because I've heard a lot that be yourself, okay? And how to balance being myself and adapting to my...
Thank you. Great question. So I just had this conversation with one of my clients on Tuesday. What is today? Thursday? Thursday. Yeah, I was like, what's today? On Tuesday. And I'm my authentic self. How would you describe me? Outgoing, energetic, professional. My mom used to say, why do we have to hear you before we see you? That is who I am. I never changed, okay? I have not changed to this day. And she's not going to change me now. That's just who I am in my core, but that's my authentic self. Now, to your point, Carlos, when I go in with my new client on Tuesday, when I go in and of course, I look them up on LinkedIn. Good job. I don't know if you use LinkedIn or not. I look them up, I do my homework, and then I go in and I look at, as a business, what do they value? Most businesses have their core values on their website, or they have a mission statement. And I can then adapt, and I have a visual to this. I can then be what is that? A chameleon. I can be a chameleon and adapt to what they value, not what I value. I already know what I value, and I stand very strong in my values. But in this moment, to build rapport, it is important to understand, what do they value? And if the business owner is a very even keel, like this guy that I spoke to was a German business owner. He's from the northern part of Germany. I'm from the southern part of Germany. You guys are from the south. You know, we're all from the South. I'm from the Southeast, you're from the Southwest, here in the United States. Southerners in Germany, same thing. We're open, we're welcoming, we're, you know, hospitable. The Northerners, Germans, if you think you know one thing about Germans and they're rigid, man, times 20, the Northerners, okay? Do you know some Northerners? Yeah, Hamburg. This guy, I don't know if his shirt could have been more crisp. And he was wearing it all day already. But there were no wrinkles. There was no deviation from his facial features, from his clothing. It was just who he is. Now, if I would have come in like you, I was here from the get-go, how I introduced myself, would I have been able to build rapport with him? No, no. I would have burned that bridge from the get-go. He would have not been able to take me serious at all. No matter how crisp my shirt was, no matter how professional my exterior was, but just in my bubbly, outgoing way, I would have not been able to build rapport with him. But I knew going in what he valued because I looked at his LinkedIn and I did a little bit of homework and I adapted to him. I was a chameleon. And when I had enough rapport, I just became my authentic self. But I had to kind of put my foot in the door first. That does not make me inauthentic. That makes me respectful of the other person. How many of you, I mean, you all probably have been to Mexico, I would assume. I mean, it's 20 meters from here. You know, Mexico? How many of you ever been like to France, by show of hands? Okay, so you've been to France. If I would go to a French bakery, and now I'm taking my American card out, or my German. I mean, they don't like both of us, Germans or Americans. And I would say, hi all, I want a latte with some vanilla syrup, and I'll have that swirly thing back there, that, you know. Do you think that they would joyfully serve me? No, because I am not doing my part in being respectful and communicating with them. It is the exact same thing. It's being respectful to recognizing where the other person comes from, no matter where in the world we go. There's a great book, and I just lost the complete topic of the book, but Kiss, Bow, and something. It's on cultural differences. But when, do you know the entire title? I can't think of the title right now. Kiss, Bow, and something, something. Great book on interculturalism. When you go to Japan, there are things that you do and do not do. When you go to Germany, there are things that you do and do not do. When I go to Mexico, there are things that I do and do not do. When I go to, Southeast Asia, there are things that I do and do not do. Knowing it, that's important. That's where you need to do your homework. I hope that was a long-winded answer to your question, but did that help? You're going to be a bamboo in your values. You're not going to, a bamboo does not uproot itself to be flexible. A bamboo stands strong in its roots, but yet it's very flexible. Did you know that in Asia they use bamboo instead of rebar to build high-rises? That's how flexible bamboo is, and yet so strong. So you want to be a bamboo. It takes forever for a bamboo to sprout and come out and grow, but once it grows inches a day, but it grows tall, and it's very flexible, but it will never uproot to be flexible. So be like a bamboo. Okay? Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Great question. Great question. Okay, so we already established AQ does not replace EQ or IQ. Now, I have a little video that we're going to show on adaptability. Let's see if I can pull this up. Hello. And this. Do we have, oh.
In order to improve anything, you we started to look at adaptability as a key component, everybody's saying, "Ah, this is the thing. This is what we need to unlock and understand the 5-year future."
I have a different methodology because that started out, and it's not complicated. I look for signs of one specific trait, not IQ, not EQ. It's adaptability. How well a person reacts to the inevitability of change and loss of it. Adaptability itself is a form of intelligence, and our adaptability quotient, or AQ, is something that can be measured, tested, and improved.
The whole concept AQ of adaptability quotient, we broke it down into 3 areas: ability, character, and environment. So AQ ability is how and to what degree do you apply it. It's a choice, and if you've not realized, it's a choice, but it's a choice about how not only you want to react to certain situations, but what kind of people you want to surround yourself with. AQ character is who adapts and why.
Some people will adapt chronologically at their big goals, like growth, high achievement, while the others will adapt because they have to adapt. It's a duty. I must, otherwise I will lose the job. And you are actually not that because you adapt perhaps in a very systematic way, it's just your character. But the manager must know about that.
AQ environment is about when does somebody adapt and to what.
People spend 2/3 of their time in the office working. If they have a frustrating experience, a depressing experience, an experience that sucks when they have to go to work, then probably their life will be impacted in the same way.
We're at around 0.1 of assessment and measure. And we'll do it through a conversational chatbot. So you'll have a 25, you get half an hour conversation. And we're working to get that as natural as possible. And you will then get a score, so an AQ score, and also get a bit of a profile. But taking that data only shows you that snapshot. What we're super excited about is, can we predict what might happen next, or reskill next, or a change readiness of that team or cohort or workforce, so that we can then put interventions in place for those that might struggle, aren't quite ready, so that we're using our resources effectively.
I think adaptability is essential skills for the future. You gotta have great IQ, you gotta have EQ, but if you don't have your AQ, the future you have is, you set mindset towards it as you learn and build that muscle. It's something that everyone needs to focus on through life.
All right, that was a little clip, and you can find it on YouTube as well if you want to watch it again, or you just Google adaptability, or you just send me an email. I will share my email with you later on. But it's basically what I have been sharing with you this morning, and I want to go through. Anyone that just watched this little clip had any aha just watching this little clip? Any insight for yourself? Okay, just checking. So, 3 components. Do you remember what the 3 components were? One's already here on the board. Character, yeah, Environment, exactly. So, ability, character, and environment. Let's go through these a little bit. So he said, in order to improve anything, you have to be able to measure it. I said it as an opening statement this morning. And they started to look at adaptability as the key component in today's life to thrive. Because what is the main topic in today's professional life? What is one of the main topics right now? AI, exactly, thank you. AI is the main topic. If we, as humans, are not able to adapt, what happens? Yeah, we're left behind, we're out, period. We need to find our stance. We need to find our niche where AI cannot replace us. And there are so many areas where AI will never be able to replace you as a human. To build rapport, to Carlos's point. there might be, I'm very involved in the International Coaching Federation. I'm a master certified coach as well as a speaker. And I get emails from all of these AI startups. And I love that they're doing that. But what I don't love is that they're introducing therapy and coaching through an AI tool. They are doing a disservice to people down the road. And the pendulum swings in that AI direction right now, but you wait and see, and mark my words, it's going to swing in the other direction. And if you're not adaptable enough, you might miss that swing in the other direction in no matter what you are doing. You need to be adaptable enough that when the pendulum swings in the other direction, and it will, AI has its place, but you as humans have your place. You need to be adaptable enough to be aware of where do you need to adapt, where do you need to shift into. So we broke it down into ability, character, and environment. Ability, the skills and capabilities to adapt. How and to what degree does one adapt? And he said it in the video, it's a choice. It's a choice how you want to behave and how you want to react. Now, what's the difference between act and react? How you react to someone, yeah. And you want to be proactive. And a lot of people that are reacting to someone's behavior and have not the tools, that reaction, a lot of times, burns a bridge because they don't have the tools. Rather than being original in their action, they just react to something that's coming into the environment, into their environment. Often we react, if we have staff, faculty, or teams, we react to our teams. Sometimes we react to our teams because we want them to all go in the same direction. We want them to be one team to drive the company forward. But the action as a business owner needs to be there before we react to individual circumstances or to individual team members. Character, the mindset and psychological readiness for change. Who adapts and why do they adapt? Are there big goals? Is there growth? Is there achievement? And I don't know if you caught it, but in the video he said it, some have to adapt because it's their duty. They must, or else they're facing drastic consequences like losing their customers or their job. When he said that in the video, I heard a quick in the room. I don't know who it was, but that got me too, because I have been there. If I am not in my character, if I am, and boy, I don't know, I know too little about the Latino culture, but in my German culture, boy, we are rigid. Or we can be rigid. Brigitta had to learn to not be rigid. Flexibility is my middle name, compared with tenacity. That's also my middle name. It's a good combination. I made it a good combination. But I had to learn to be flexible. Because when I came to the United States to build my first business, it was my way or the highway. And I had a huge turnaround in team members, in staff. Huge turnaround. I remember one of my first, I built a Montessori school. That was the first business I built in the United States. One of my first teachers that I hired, and it was in Cleveland, Tennessee. If you don't know where Cleveland, Tennessee, it's smaller than Cleveland, Ohio, but it is in the buckle of the Bible Belt. Cleveland, Tennessee, small town, built a Montessori school there. If you don't know what a Montessori school is, don't worry about it, but it's a very liberal way of teaching. It is Many teachers, few children in the classroom, each child is being taught individually. The Chamber of Commerce and the churches in the community thought they brought in the devil themselves. I had to do a whole lot of explaining. But once I did a lot of explaining, they were like, oh, this is really cool. We never heard of this. One of my first teachers that I hired, she said, they called me Mr. Gita, Miss Brigitta, but kind of sounded like Mr. Gita. Mr. Gita, we're in the South. You'll figure it out. Everything's like really laxy-daisy around here. I said, well, actually, not here. She didn't work for me very long. But that was also a really big problem for me. Cleveland, Tennessee, you might know or not know it. How many of you have ever been to Tennessee? Okay, some of you, okay. Cleveland, Tennessee. Yeah, thank you. They know each other. It's a small community. Everyone knows everyone. Did you see this blonde chick from Germany? What does she think she's doing? Yeah, what does she think she's doing? There are not a whole lot of good Montessori teachers in Cleveland, Tennessee. So if I find a great teacher and I fire them, I need to replace that person. And I also need to be on top of it because word gets around, don't work for that bitch. Yeah, I know her. I've worked for her. Now, spoiler alert, 23 years later, we have 256 students. We go all the way through high school. I'm out of the day-to-day operations. I got smart. I took myself out. I built the school very successfully. I'm still involved in the background. I run all of the business transactions, but no one knows I'm there. I hired a family from Cleveland, Tennessee to run the school. And that made them successful, somewhat, yes, of course. But it was hard because I lost teachers, and I did that several times, and then, of course, the word got out in the community, what is she doing? And then parents wouldn't enroll their children in my school either. I was too rigid and was not able to adapt in my behavior and who I was. Because I thought, I have 2 degrees, I'm coming from Germany, I got it made. What do you guys want to tell me? Man, I had to come down from that high horse. But that cost me a lot of money and a lot of time. And it made me very humble. Made me humble. So character, the mindset and psychological readiness to change. And environment, the context that enables and also or blocks the adaptation. When does someone adapt, and to what degree do they adapt? He said it in the video, people spend around 2/3 of their time working. 2/3. Before the pandemic, we would have said people spend 2/3 of their time in the office. Now we can say people spend 2/3 of their time behind a laptop or some kind of other device. But they're constantly working, and I would say we're probably, because it's so readily available on our phones and our tablets and my laptop, I go nowhere. I go to Vieques, Puerto Rico with my laptop and I work there. Wherever I go, my laptop's with me. So although we might not be in an office, home office, or in the office, we're constantly working. And if we don't like our boss or the behavior of our boss, and if we don't like the environment, and it might just be our home environment where our home office is, because the dog barks, or there's an annoying kid that constantly asks questions, or there's a neighbor that plays trap music all day long, or whatever you have. Those are all components that will make your environment make a drag of your work. Can you relate to that? Yeah? Yeah, ouch. So your life is impacted by the environment that you work in, and if it's a great work environment, you're more likely to what? Succeed and thrive, exactly. And stay. Even I work in I have my office in our center of training. We have a big training building, and I have my office in there. And if we don't have any trainings, and if I don't have any clients come over, I'm in there all by myself. But I clean in there. I have a cleaning person come in. I make it look nice. I clean up my desk every evening. I want to look forward to come back to my desk the next day. So it's on you to arrange, no matter where you're working, to arrange your work environment so you like to come back. But if you're lonely, and boy, after the pandemic, people have become really lonely in their home offices, and they're disconnected from their team. And often it's just the physical disconnection. They think their work sucks, but it's not the whole work that sucks. It's just the environment or the disconnection from the team that sucks. But it impacts your life. It impacts your behavior, and it impacts your success. It impacts how you do business, how you communicate with your potential client or with your team members or with your boss or with yourself. If it's a drag every day to go back in front of your laptop, no matter where it is, you need to adapt. You need to use these tools that I'm giving you today and see, where do I need to adapt? Where, and it's not a big adaptation. Often it's a fine-tuning. Have you ever seen like these big domino competitions where they put one domino piece after another, and they make these huge, like, graphics almost, that when you look at them from an eagle's eye, they make these really pretty pictures? If one of those dominoes is not set in the right angle, that means what? It's not going to, the graphic, that the end picture is not going to develop the way it's supposed to develop. And it's not a huge adaptation, it's a small one. And it's those small ones that are so powerful. But we got to be able and willing to look at it. So, this is from 2015. This is 11 years old. As a disposition and skill, adaptability is essential to an individual's psychological health, social success, and academic or workplace achievement. This is nothing new. Adaptability has been around, but we're now catching on to it. So my question to you is, what's your biggest challenge in adapting right now? Or what's your biggest challenge? Let's take adaptability out right now. What's your biggest challenge? And I'd like for you to partner up with a person beside you. If you work together, that's awesome. Think about it for like 3 minutes. Discuss, what's a challenge? Discuss. If you are not working together, that's awesome too. Everyone take notes. If you're a group of 3, go ahead. Find someone to work with. What's your biggest challenge right now?
zero. I think my biggest challenge is understand the, like AI, understand tools, I understand tools, but bring it on enough that we don't have that sticks stone, we have to use a stick tip.
Okay, I want to invite you to write out what the challenge is and see how this, one of the points that you're walking away with today might support in working on this challenge, okay? Because I'm pretty certain that one of the things that we're going to continue to talk about is going to help you. It's going to loosen up an area where you can go in and start taking that challenge from a different angle. Okay? Thank your neighbor, give him a high five, say you're awesome. All right. So 2024, LinkedIn Learning said adaptability is the #1 in-demand skill, and it's been among the top in-demand skills 5 of the last 6 years. These are just some stats. Harvard Business School said adaptability is the #1 in-demand skill. Adaptability 71%, creativity 47%, curiosity 48%, comfort with ambiguity 43%, adaptability definitely up there with 71%. Again, LinkedIn, resilience and adaptability is the #1 in-demand skill. Leadership and development pros globally cited these skills as being most important, ranked in order, and resilience and adaptability is #1. And you see, there's more and more and more. I'm not going to read all of them, and it's not even a good slide either, now that I see that here. But Forbes, Harvard Business Review, McKinsey, everyone talks about adaptability. I want to come back to these use cases should we have time, but I do want to talk a little bit about investing in adaptability because, and I have some stats here, talent adaptability. According to a study by McKinsey, employees with high adaptability are 2.5 times more likely to have higher performance and contribute more to an organization's success. 2.5 more times. So that's a talent adaptability. Rapid change. The World Economic Forum reports that 50% of employees will need to be reskilled by 2025, so that's an older fact, due to rapid changes in technology, market demands, and new ways of working. So again, do we have to adapt to that? Absolutely. Competitive advantage. A study by the Boston Consulting Group found that companies with more adaptable employees had a 22% higher total shareholder return compared to their less adaptable counterparts. So there's definitely a competitive advantage that you have with adaptability. Productivity. A Korn Ferry survey showed that companies with more agile workforce experienced a 25% increase in productivity compared to organizations with less adaptable employees. Cost savings. According to a study by the Corporate Executive Board, adaptable employees can save organizations up to $12,000 per employee per year due to their adaptability to learn quickly and effectively adapt to new situations. Innovations. A PwC survey found that 79% of CEOs consider adaptability and innovation among the top 3 skills they seek in their employees to drive business growth. Now, that means when you hire new team members, when you have to fire a team member and you have to hire on new team members, one of the first questions is I give them a scenario, how do you deal with that? How do you adapt to that? And if they're umming and ahhing, or if they're, oh, I've always done it this way, we always do it this way, sorry, you're not going to the next round. We need people that are rooted in their values, and if the values of a person, of your talent, is compatible to your values as a company, and then they're also adaptable, that's when you're going to have a great team culture. But if you have talent or potential talent, and they come from we call it a fixed mindset. When I say fixed mindset, do you know what that means, a fixed mindset? There's a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset is, oh, woe is me, all things are happening to me, I am not in charge, I am the victim here. A growth mindset is, hey, if it's up to B, it's up to whom? Me. I got to do it. I got to take charge. That's the kind of talent that you want. And a growth mindset, an abundance mindset, those are the people that are more adaptable. So you want to ask specific questions in onboarding to find out, are they coming from a fixed mindset or are they coming from a growth mindset? If you already get a gut feeling, how many of you, when you talk to a potential new team member or client, how many of you go with a little bit of your gut? Not all, but yes, thank you. And I'm so glad that some of my men are also going with their gut. Yes, I love it, because your gut speaks. And I'm not saying only go with your gut, but there is intelligence in that as well. So use that. And if your gut says, ooh, I hear some drama, I hear in those stories, I don't think that's going to work. Go with that. I wish I would have learned this lesson much, much sooner. But I was also desperate to find teachers in a community that didn't have a whole lot of good teachers. By the way, I ended up teaching all of the new teachers. I ended up doing a teacher program and then teaching them. That's how we grew. That's how we actually became successful.
Did you ever find that moving was a solution to a bigger pool, or would you stay stuck with where you're at with a limited supply of work?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Did you find out that moving to another city, changing your environment, was a better solution for you versus staying and depending on a small job pool?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. So I personally moved to the city again because I had moved from Midtown Munich. When my husband and I worked and climbed the German corporate ladder, we lived in Midtown Munich, huge city, one of the most beautiful cities in Europe, I would say, but I'm biased. But then we moved to a small town in Tennessee. The school is still in Tennessee, so we never moved the school itself. But I personally, I did not like my work environment anymore. The community was too small. Everyone knew me. At this point, everyone liked me because they asked me to sit on the Chamber of Commerce. I had to do a whole lot of, okay, I'm really not the bitch that you're saying I am. But that took years. Yeah, that took years. And I just didn't like working there anymore. I loved building the business. As a business owner, do you love building your business? Do you love what you do? But there are also some tasks in your business that you're like, just shoot me now. I don't want to do this. So I hired for those positions, but I love doing all of the budgeting and the making sure that the SOPs are right. I love doing all of that, but I don't need to be the face. So to your answer, to your question, yes, I love living in the city now because that's where I'm comfortable. And I can do my work from where I am. It's 2 hours south from the school. If I have to go up there, I'll drive up there. I don't have to go up there very often, thanks to Zoom.
In that time, it's like you say, in that time, you have a certain mentality that if you move to the other city, you have the same mentality.
Right.
So you will repeat the same thing with another person. So it's going to be pattern repeating.
Exactly. Thank you for that. Often, when we change the environment, we just want to change something because we recognize I'm just bored with this, or I don't know the answer to the challenge. So I'm going to use the easiest thing to change, and that is uprooting myself and going somewhere else. That is the easiest. If we look at change management, it comes in a pyramid, and it's not part of what we're doing today, but I'll just give it to you really quick. It's called the neurological levels of change. And and at the very bottom, the easiest thing to change is your environment. The next thing is your behavior, that you guys can see it, your behavior. And then your capabilities, I'm telling you, ease and skills. That's also something that can be learned, right? Now we're getting into the weeds of things. The next in the neurological levels of change is beliefs and values. Now, can one beliefs and values change easily? No. They're part of you. That it will take, you can change them, but they're rooted pretty deep in you. Like if someone messes with my family, that's one of my core values. Oh, you're messing with the wrong chick. And I'm pretty sure that goes for a lot of you people in here. Yeah, that doesn't change. I cannot just turn that off, that value. So now we're getting here. This is, I'm going to say, easier to change, okay? The easiest is definitely the environment. Oh, I don't like my work anymore. I'm going to see if I can work somewhere else. I'm going to put my resume in and work somewhere else if you're an employee. Or I call it, if the boss is like, oh, something's got to change, but I don't know what, and they start moving things in the environment. They start redoing the offices or putting new paint on the walls. That's rearranging the chairs on the sinking Titanic because it's the easiest to change. So it gives it signals that we're changing something, but it's not really moving the needle, right? So beliefs and values, then identity. Can identity be changed? You have to really work on it. You have to become aware of what is my identity? What do I stand for? And these are connected, right? Your beliefs is connected to your identity. But then the biggest piece up here, what do you think is all the way in the top? Huh? Others? Well, it is a greater, yeah. It's purpose. Your purpose, we're here, each and every one of you is here to do something. Some of you might have 2 or 3 purposes. That's your why in life. Yeah, that is your why in life, exactly. That is almost unshakable. So when I moved to Atlanta and I built an educational facility for adults, a training facility, I first had a little bit of an identity crisis. I was like, I studied social pedagogy. I've been working with parents and children most of my entire life. Until I recognized children are innocent by nature. It's the adults around them that screw them up or that lift them up. Either one. Most of the time, it's screw them up. So instead of me focusing on these kids, which we're already doing that with a great school, I want to focus on the adults. So when they have kids, or the kids that they have at home, that will bleed over what I'm teaching them into their home environment. So then, now it became, again, part of my values. You see how I had to bring that in to not completely feel unhinged in my identity? Does that make sense? So this is called the neurological levels of change. I did not plan on having this part of today, but, you know, it always works. It always works. You're welcome. You are so welcome. Okay, so can someone tell me the time, please? Oh, I was like, 12, what? Okay. Okay, good, perfect, we're great in time. So we already established AQ ability, AQ character, AQ environment. Who and to what degree does someone adapt, who adapts and why, and when does someone adapt and how quickly? So this looks like a little bit like, do you remember in science, the periodic table? Exactly, that's what they were kind of going for. So in AQ ability, we want to look at grit, mental flexibility, mindset, resilience, and then the thing that we talked about earlier, unlearning. In AQ character, we talk about, or we look at emotional range, extroversion, hope, motivation style, and thinking style. And then in environment, we're moving away from the person itself, but going into the bigger picture. So company support, emotional health, team support, work environment, work stress. So we're looking at those things so we can then identify where are some challenges within these 5 components. So let's go back to ability. AQ ability, grit. So the model of ability, or the ACE model, ACE, ability, character, and environment, ACE model, there's this unique mix. So AQ ability, how and to what degree do I adapt? Grit, what is grit? Continuing what is hard, so perseverance in action, yep, absolutely. Your stamina for a long haul, doing whatever it takes. I like to say over, under, around, and through, whatever it takes, I will do. Getting the job done. That's your entrepreneurial fuel, especially when things get hard. Mental flexibility, what is that? Being open to things? Learning? Yeah, so staying open to new ideas and changing your approach fast. Listening, the ability to switch strategies without losing momentum. I think that's the key. Without losing momentum or losing your identity as a company or as a boss, as a business owner. Mindset. Remember what I said earlier? Which mindset? Not fixed, but growth orientation. How you frame challenges. Are they obstacles? That would be a fixed mindset. Or are they opportunities? That's a growth mindset. So a growth mindset embraces learning, and they see failure as experience, as feedback. There is never failure. There's only feedback. And when you can, if that is the only, that's one of the laws that I teach. There is no failure, only feedback. And when you can see, when you can go through your business life, or even if you have kids, how many of you have kids by show of hands? Oh, great. So if you can teach your kids there is no failure, only feedback, that means that they can learn from what they've experienced. That's huge. But we have a lot of kids, especially nowadays, but I don't want to harp on them, because I have a 20-year-old and a 23-year-old, and they're incredible kids, absolutely incredible. And they've gone through all of my trainings. When they can allow failure without being shamed as a parent, but also allow, yeah, you know what, you fell down, you scraped your knee. That hurts, I'm sorry. We'll put a Band-Aid on it, we'll clean it, we'll put a Band-Aid on it, and we'll move on. Next time, watch where you step, or whatever it is. Next time, do X, Y, Z, whatever the learning is. Resilience. What is resilience? Expand changes? Withstand changes. Strength, yep. Okay, bouncing back. The ability to bounce back. That's your emotional toughness, so your strength, as you said. So especially when we have a huge loss. I don't know, how many of you were around or had a business in 2008? By show of hands. Anyone had a business in 2008? I was in business for a few years in 2008. And if you don't remember, it was the big bubble, yeah, a mortgage bubble, just completely blew. And overnight, everyone that was in finance, in real estate, in mortgage, loan officers, they all pulled their children out of my school. It's a private school, tuition-paying private school, pulled all their children out because there was uncertainty. They didn't know. They didn't know if any of their stuff was worth anything. So overnight, although I was not connected to that profession, I felt that badly. And I didn't know, am I going to have to close my doors or what I needed to do? And I made a decision very quickly. I remember I went to Barnes & Nobles and I was like, right now I cannot afford to buy books, but I can put up shop at Barnes & Nobles and I'm going to read as many books as I can. And I remember, I can't even remember which book it was, but it talked about how the most resilient businesses grow exponentially by going through huge adversities. And that was my, okay, I got this. If other businesses can do this, I can do it. And that's when I made the decision, I'm going to not close my doors. I'm not going to pay myself a salary. I'm going to ask my teachers if they would take less salary, but we're going to keep the doors open. I did not fire any teachers. It was hard. It was 2 years of hard work. But that's why we are where we are today. So that's the resilience part. It's not giving up. It's the emotional toughness. Unlearning, letting go to move forward. Consciously letting go of old habits, assumptions, business models. Oh, we've always done it this way. VW, how many of you know VW? The automotive company? How many of you drive a VW by show of hands? You don't have to. VW in Chattanooga, Tennessee, which is 30 minutes outside of where my school is, with a diesel, there was a huge diesel, what was that called? Callback, it wasn't a callback. It was just a big thing. VW Germany doubled down and said, we don't have to go to the press, we don't have to explain, we'll just continue to do business as usual. That was a big mistake. That was a billions of dollars big mistake because they did not learn, they tried to stay rigid, and they lost a lot of money and some really big lawsuits. It wasn't a car recall, it was, they were, They were putting out diesel engines that said that they were clean, but they weren't. So they were manufacturing false data. And they deceived the end consumer, and it was a big problem. It was, I would say, I don't know, 10 years, maybe 12 years ago. Unlearning. That means looking at the things that might be really painful, but then making a decision. If we don't do this now, we will not just lose customers, we will not just lose team members, we will not lose employees, we will lose lots and lots and lots of dollars in income, in revenue. Character, emotional range. Understanding your emotional spectrum. So the ability to experience and manage your variety of emotions. May it be stress, may it be fear, may it be excitement. So the greater of a range you have that you can pull on to not get stuck. Ooh, I'm feeling fear right now. I'm stuck now in this fear mode. I like to say when I work with a client and they are experiencing fear, I tell them, did you know that fear and excitement in your brain shows up the exact same way? And you can now make a decision, is it fear or is it excitement? That's also the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. So you can decide if you feel fear, am I fearful of what's the unknown? How many minutes do we have? 5? Thank you. Am I fearful of the unknown, or am I excited of the opportunity that comes out of the unknown? Extroversion, your interaction style. How energized do you feel when you engage with others? Carlos said it with us earlier. It was really hard for him to not build rapport and to be rigid. Hope. Oh my gosh. The power of positive expectation. Hope is your belief in a positive future and your ability to influence it. And as business owners, you do influence it, and you can influence it, and you should influence it. Motivation style. What drives you? And what drives the greater goal? What drives the internal goals to mastery? What drives the external goals? What makes people want to do business with you? Thinking style, how you process information and decisions. And then we go to environment. Company support. That is the backbone of your success. It means having structures, resources, and leadership backing to navigate uncertainty. Because when you're, as a business owner, as a boss, as a leader, as a founder, if you are uncertain and you don't have that in check, and your team subconsciously, not even consciously, subconsciously picks up on that, who gets uncertain? The team. And then if they're customer facing, who gets uncertain next? The client, the customer. And then they don't come back because they're like, oh, we don't know if this company is going to live, so we might go to the competition because they seem healthier. Emotional health, sustaining personal well-being. Your emotional health is the foundation for consistent decision-making and resilience. So when you face constant pressure, you must prioritize mental well-being. Because if you do not prioritize mental well-being within yourself, within your team, that is a disaster waiting to happen. It's unclear, the energy is mixed up, it's muggy, it's muddy, there's no focus, and that's where it all turns into a downward spiral. Team support. That is the power of the selective strength. Because as a business owner, you don't succeed alone. I mean, I've seen people try to do it, but you need a team. And that means you have reliable. What? Reliable, skilled, motivated, growth mindset people around you that can communicate openly and share their goals and be heard and valued and seen by you as the business owner. Incentives, yeah, incentives. You need to share with your team how you empower them to problem solve. Work environment, physical and cultural conditions. The environment you work in, not just the physical space, but the culture. Oh, where is it? The culture shapes the health of your business. And that all goes back to how adaptable is your organization? How adaptable are you as the business owner? Have an open, safe, and encouraging workplace, because that drives creativity and flexibility. And then work stress. Managing pressure to avoid burnout. Because stress is inevitable. We've all had stress, probably even today. But uncontrolled stress erodes adaptability. When you know how to recognize, manage, and mitigate your stress, that enables sustained energy and strategic thinking from you, and that trickles into your team. And if your team is not all on board, you need to have more team meetings to empower your team. So these are, let me go back to the, oh, here he is. These are the 15 components of the ACE model. If you haven't taken a picture yet, you might want to take a picture of it. I have this printed out. I have it in front of my computer in my office. And if I'm talking to a client and I'm just listening to him, I look at where is the challenge here? Where, in which silo do we have a problem here? And it's not one or the other. Most of the time, it starts with a behavior. And in very, very many occasions, it's unlearning an old behavior that no longer supports. Nelson, how many minutes are we up?
All three.
Three?
How much longer do you need? Asking because we're about to serve the food and I don't want you not to have a bite.
Oh, that's sweet. Okay, so what are the hidden behaviors that block adaptability? What do you think? What are the hidden behaviors that block? Fixed mindset. Rigidness, yeah. Resistance to change. Clinging to familiar routines or processes. How many of you have heard that? And you might have heard it from your own mouth. We've always done it that way. That's why we continue to do it that way. Avoidance of risk, fear of failure or uncertainty. Hesitation, poor self-awareness, lack of reflection. Overconfidence. If you have had great successes in this business or another business, your overconfidence can also get in the way. That is a behavior that can get in the way. Ego. Oh, ego, definitely. Thank you for that. Relying too much on traditional methods, relying too much on, I can do this, and if it's the last thing I do, I know how to do it. That's ego. Lack of feedback seeking. And that starts with not having a mastermind or a mentor or a team outside of your team that you can connect with, that you can brainstorm with, other founders, other business owners, that you can sit down, have a drink with, and go, I have this challenge. Because often we're so stuck in it that we can't see the forest for the trees.
About that, how do you know it, especially in a small town where it tends to lean to close-minded? And I know right now we're in the perfect environment because everyone here is an entrepreneur, the majority.
Right.
But how do you seek the right mentor that you know that you're able to trust him fully or trust her fully without being a sabotage or speaking too much out of, or not really empathizing with you, but misdirecting you?
Yeah.
What's the best way to find a good mentor?
That's a great question. And it's called vetting. So might be that the person is not in the environment that you're working in right now, that you're living in right now, so you might have to go out and find them elsewhere. I had a client or a new client call me the other day, and she said, I want to become a coach. But there are so many coaching programs out there. I mean, if you just go and Google, I want to become a coach, there's like hundreds and thousands of pages. And everyone says how great their coaching program is. My first question is, are they certified by the International Coaching Federation or a similar organization, international organization, that really puts a stamp of approval on there? That's my first question. So a mentor, show me what you have already created, show me your successes, and then I want to talk to some of your clients or some of your buddies and see, are you really who you are, you say you are? So you got to do a little bit of a homework. So that's the first thing that I look at. Are they who they say they are? Because, dear God, you can put Kajabi and God knows what, all of these things out there. But what's really, when you pull back all of the layers, what's there? And then the person that is putting on these programs, who are their mentors? Who are their coaches? Who do they work with? That's the most important piece. Because I can say, oh, I'm a great mentor, I build all of these businesses. But Brigitta, who do you seek advice from? Who do you learn from? That's a really, really valid question when you look for a mentor. Because if they're like, oh, I already know it all. Remember what I said earlier? Go, run. No, I don't. I have so much learning to do. Every great mentor is connected to a mastermind, to another mentor, to a group of people that they can continue to grow. And that just takes a little bit of trusting your gut, having some interviews with some people, and really asking them some really good questions.
Adding something to your question, I think is gonna be encouraged to your environment. But it's depending on what are you doing, and encouraging that for get a mentor in that area.
Yeah. My first mentor was not in education. When I built my school in Tennessee, my mentor was in the economic development. He was incredibly connected. He connected me to some great lawyers, to some other incredible people, but he was not in education. So the good thing was he was not biased in building the school. He was not part of my profession, which was really good. It really helped me. It helped me to think outside the box in building my business. Okay. I think we want to wrap it up. I want to, well, the ones that are leaving, yes, we have a little video. We have a little gift for you. And it is right here, AQ checklist. Get it? Download it. It's the AQ checklist that will summarize everything that we talked about today and some more. So aqchecklist.brigittahoeferle.com. And if there are any questions that you have afterwards, I'm going to stick around here for a little bit before I go back to the airport. I'm going to put my email here. My card is back there where my phone is. You can take one of my cards. You basically can just Google my first and last name. If you know how to spell my first and last name, you will find me. There's only one of me, right? There's only one of me. There's the first one. There's only one Brigitta Hoeferle. And my email is also very simple. It's my first name, Brigitta, at my last name, Hoeferle.com. Very simple. Brigitta at Hoeferle.com. First name at last name.com. Before I let you go, one word, one phrase. What do you walk away with? Who wants to say something?
The 15 measures. I'm gonna Google it and try to test myself.
Yes.
Get better.
Please. Awesome.
Amazing.
Amazing. Okay, thank you. I'll take amazing. Anyone else walk away with something? That's why I got this room and a longer time, because when they invited me to speak here, they said, wow, this is really powerful. We need you to speak longer on this topic. Thank you. Thank you. Give yourselves a round of applause. It was great talking to you. Thank you.